3 drivers, 2 cars, only 1 champion. Welcome to the 21st and final round of the 2018 GP4 OC season, the Brazilian Grand Prix at Interlagos. The 9th of 9 tracks to feature on the OC calendar every season, every race, generally here in Brazil, is always exciting. Of course, the Driver Championship will of course be decided today, and the circuit named after the Brazilian Formula 1 driver Carlos Pache, who took his only win here. Previous 3 winners have included Florian Volker 2016, Jay McKenzie 2016, Joseph Williams winning last season in 2017. Of course, 2017 championship winner was Will Neller, who took it in his final season in the top tier of the OC. But the big question is, can Amar Khan and Franco Lopez get their first titles in the OC? But can Florian Volker crucially get his 5th title in the OC? Now that would be quite an achievement to do so. With the lap record set by Jay McKenzie last season, 108.345, circuit length of 4.39 kilometers, 15 corners, 71 laps, one of the best tracks on the calendar. I think the tyres, of course, we'll be using for this race will be the super soft tyres. And the driver of the day and race rating from last time out, 7 race rating and driver of the day joint between the 2 Hungarians, Michael Gau and Roland Moichin, who both had great races at Abu Dhabi. But here is the final starting grid of the season here in Brazil, and on the front row, Florian Volker already getting a head start ahead of his title rivals, taking pole position ahead of Franco Lopez alongside him in 2nd position. Amar Khan 3rd on the grid, with Michael Gau in 4th, so the top 3 in the order, and that could of course be the order of the championship as well. Row 3 of the grid, we have Joseph Williams for Ferrari and Joel Hutter for Red Bull. On row 4 of the grid, we have Roland Moichin for Force India and Jay McKenzie 8th for Renault. On row 5 of the grid, we have David Gree with a great qualifying by him for Toro Rosso, and Evan Byrne 10th for Renault. Can't rhyme anyway a little bit there. 11th and 12th, row 6, Paulino Tomasetti for Sauber and Turvin Altirin for Force India. That is row 6 of the grid. Row 7, we have Gabriel Gomez, the home favourite, in 13th, and Franco Gamba 14th for Haas. Of course, Gomez will be able to get some points in front of his home crowd. Roberto Gamba 15th for McLaren, and George Roque 16th for Haas. But of course, Roque had a good race last time at Abu Dhabi, having qualified low down. Lean Campana 17th for Williams, and Etienne Jones 18th for Manor. That is row 9 of the grid. Row 10 of the grid, we have Kirosa Rossa 19th for McLaren and Felix Sontag. Not the best qualifying yet again from Williams in 20th position. And on the last row of the grid, we have Maxime Titkov and Laura Chung, who had qualified 12th but had a 10 place grid penalty for a dangerous rejoin last time out in Abu Dhabi. Team news for this week is that Kirosa Rossa will remain at McLaren. Andrea Federi will be promoted from GP2 to drive for the renamed Alfa Romeo team. Roland Moichin will remain at Force India and partner alongside George Roque when they become Racing Point. Michael Gau will remain at Red Bull. Jay McKenzie will remain at Renault, meaning that David Gree, now Tyrrell, Chung, Gamba, Hutter and Jones all don't have seats for next season in 2019. So unfortunate for them, a number of them didn't sign up, but that is how it goes really. But here is the championship criteria. So Volker, as long as he finishes in 6th position, he'll win the title. If he finishes 7th, Carl will finish 2nd. If he fails to score, he needs Carl Lopez to finish 2nd and 3rd. As long as they don't win, and he's not in the points, then that is the situation. But here we are, and of course, it's going to be a wet race at Brazil. We normally have mixed weather. It's going to be a very wet race. 96% chance of rain, so it is going to be wet the whole way through. So this is going to be very, very interesting indeed. Florian Volker, the current championship leader, 19 points ahead of Amar Khan, and who's 20 points clear of Franco Lopez. The final race of the 2018 season is about to get underway, and we're now underway. And who's going to get the jump into turn 1? It looks like Volker, as they come slowly up the hill, is a lot higher than you expected is. Will Volker make the best start and keep the lead? It looks like Lopez actually might overtake him, and Lopez is on the inside, but Volker will keep it around the outside. And I think he's going to have the run through, so Volker does keep the lead. Lopez is second. Car trying to defend from the Red Bull. I think that is Michael Gau in 3rd. And I think Gau might have got through, actually. And he's got the run, and he is through. So not the start the car would have wanted at all. And it looks like so far all the cars have got through without any damage. But a good start by Volker. Not a good start by Car. Meanwhile, Gau is really trying to get through on the inside of Lopez. He's trying to make it through, but he can't do it. Roland Moichin himself has made a great start up into P5. For Force India, of course, the last race they're called Force India before they become Racing Point for next season. As we look at the rest of the field coming through, Gomez dropped a position. Roque, I think, stayed about the same. And we look through, and so far it looks like everyone has made it through cleanly, but Gal all over the back of Lopez, and Volker's already shot off into the distance here. So it's going to be a very interesting race so far. So Volker's made a good start, and as long as he just finishes in the points, and that as long as Carr and Lopez are not ahead of him, it's going to be a very good situation for him. Of course, Volker looking to get his 5th title in the OC. Now, as we look at Michael coming through the final couple of corners, and surely going to make a move on the front straight. He's right in the slipstream. As long as he gets a good run through the final corner up the hill, he's going to go for it, although he's dropped a little bit behind, I think, a little bit further behind than he probably would have wanted to. But as they come through on to the pit straight for the first time, there's now 70 laps to go in this race, and anything can happen. Meanwhile, Hutter is going to get past Rudder Moichin coming into the centre S's, and Moichin, I think, just about has the edge on him coming up the straight. Will Hutter still go down the inside? Would he go for it? The answer is no. I think Moichin just about has enough to cover him off. Any other moves? And no, it looks like everyone is kind of just there. Oh no, and it's now Tyrrell actually side by side with George Rogue into the first corner. Rogue's on the inside, and he moves over to P15 to Ross, trying to get through past Sontag, but failing. Chung's moved up one position as well. Now Miguel Scal trying to get through Franco Lopez once again. Lopez is not letting him through without a fight, and he shouldn't have to. And he just about holds off Gal for second place. That battle is going to go on. And meanwhile, Carr, of course, is right there too. He's in the thick of all this. So it's going to be interesting. It's going to be purely on pace because the race, the weather conditions are going to be wet throughout. So it's going to be fascinating to see who is going to be the best wet driver as we look through, coming through the middle part of the circuit. The well, one of the places where you can't overtake. All about the car through this bit. And Lopez, the gap already 2 seconds to Volker. So at the moment, Lopez is doing Volker a favour, but of course Lopez himself is trying to win the title. It's tough to think what you could do here when you've got teammates that are within a title shout, but of course Volker who's the one leading, so who knows, but there's still going to be plenty more laps to go. Now Gal is definitely a lot closer than he was last lap, so he's definitely going to have a move surely coming down the front straight. He's right behind him. He's going to try and make a move to the left. He's going to be alongside the Mercedes of Franco Lopez, heading towards the first corner. As they come across the line, Volker setting the fastest lap in front. Gal on the inside. Is he through? The answer is yes, he is. He is up into second place. Not what Franco Lopez wants or needs. Because now Gal, would he go after Florian Volker up front? Of course, Red Bull have not won a race this season, and it would be nice of them, of course, if they did. Now, meanwhile, Carr trying to get through past Lopez. He's on the inside, and I think he's going to make it through here, and yes, he does. But you can see why Lopez has got an absolute ton of fuel in his car. It looks like it's going to be a one-stop for Lopez, and I'm really not sure that is going to work. Meanwhile, Hutter was trying to get past Rudder Moichin there once again, who had made a great start, unable to do so. But I'm not sure the one-stop, particularly around here, and particularly when it's wet as well, I just don't see it working, really. As we look through the rest of it coming through, it's been a surprisingly clean start, actually, so far. Not much in terms of collisions, but I suppose that's technically a good thing. We're looking at Armor Carr, who is trying to keep up with Miguel Gal in front of him. We'll see, as I said, if Gal is able to catch up to the Mercedes in front as he comes down towards the final corner. The man Volker, the one who is just having it all going his way, and of course Carr it would have been a lot closer had he not been taken out, of course, by Joel Hutter in the last race in Abu Dhabi. And of course he'll be thinking to himself, if he doesn't win it today, that is going to be one of the races that really has ended his title chance. Of course, Carr trying to take his first title in the Ferrari. Gal, the gap, I couldn't see quite what the gap was. Meanwhile, Franco Gamba trying to get alongside David Greenwood, and is going to overtake him even before the finish line. So Gamba gets through up into 10th position, ahead of the Toro Rosso driver, of course, Greenwood, who finished runner-up in the DTM Championship. But of course, unfortunately, despite the fact he's filling in for Inspirachki for the rest of the season, he's not going to be on the top tier grid for next season, as unfortunately he didn't sign up, which would be pretty gutted that he didn't, because he probably would have had a great chance of getting a seat. Meanwhile, Moichin still vigorously defending from Hutter behind him. And so now, of course, Joseph Willers is there in this battle as well, trying to get through, and Jay McKenzie just there in the background. Carr said still just about keeping up with Gal, but they're getting the gap to Franco Lopez behind. Sontag struggling to get through the corner there, twitch on there, and loses the place to Laura Chung. That was 20th position there. Sontag, of course, who will be on the grid for next season, had an okay season, not been particularly great. I suppose Williams themselves have not been very good, so I suppose you could say it's not really a surprise. But as we see on board from Sontag, getting a little bit of a twitch in these tricky conditions. It's going to be wet all race. Meanwhile, this is the battle once again for P5 Brewing. This is between Moichin, Hutter, and Willows. Now, Hutter's going to try and make a move on the inside. Yet again, it just doesn't quite have enough power in that Renault engine. Of course, fortunately, having that Mercedes engine, which is helping them keep ahead. And he keeps ahead yet again. Meanwhile, this is Gamba now getting past Jay McKenzie for 9th position. And meanwhile, speaking of Hazard trying to overtake, Roke trying to get past Tomaselli for 12th, but unable to do so. But of course, Haas have pretty much all but secured top 4 in the championship. And you have to say it's been quite a unbelievable season, particularly well for Roke, but for Haas overall, I don't think really many people were expecting the fact that they were going to be so high up, but they've done it, so fair play to them. And we're looking at Roke now on the inside. Tomaselli, is this the move done for the Brit? And yes, he goes past the Italian and is now up into 12th position. And now meanwhile we're looking at Chung trying to get through on the inside of Jones, but failing to do so. I've already been stuck at the back, but as I said, so far this race it has been surprisingly clean. Not many mistakes have been made, and I mean it could be a jinx. I'm not going to say anything else because you never know what could happen, but so far been surprisingly clean after 6 laps. Meanwhile, Franco Lopez going a little bit wider. He's definitely struggling on that heavy fuel, but he's lucky at the fact that kind of Renault Moisture is technically helping him, because his car is quite slow as well, and Hutter's been unable to get through to him, so Lopez doesn't have to push, I say, too hard, but he can at least keep well ahead of Moisture. The gap was about, I think, 4 seconds I saw in the sector, and you can just about see Carr and Gal in front. I think Carr actually is definitely getting closer to Miguel Gal. I'm pretty sure that gap definitely was not as close as it was before. But as we look now at George trying to get past David Greenwood coming down the front straight, this is a move for 11th position. And there's a move behind, that is, I believe, well, both McLarens are actually making moves into the first corner. Roke does make the move just ahead of Greenwood. Oh, there's contact! And George Roke did move in a little bit in front of Greenwood, a little bit late, but fortunately did enough to make the move stick there. And it's lucky because yeah, very lucky that nothing else happened there, because you can easily spin. And it was kind of dangerous for Roke, really. He moved just in front of Greenwood. I don't think Greenwood was necessarily expecting it. There's a little bit of contact there, but fortunately no damage done. Roke managed to keep hold of the car and keep the position. This was De Rossa trying to make a move on the inside of Tomaselli. This was for 15th. I'm not sure if he's quite got the legs of the Sauber into the corner. I'm not sure. Will he go for it? He's going to attempt to. And he's just about on the inside. I think, will De Rossa have the run through the corner? The answer is, I think he might. He might have the kind of the outside to the inside. And yes, De Rossa does make it through past Tomaselli. Now Tomaselli might be under pressure from Gabriel Gomez, who himself actually, unfortunately, has not had a good start to this race. But Tomaselli is trying to get the position back straight away, but unable to do so. But as I said, Gomez behind, qualified, I think it was 13th he had qualified. And unfortunately has dropped a few positions, so not the best start for him. But as you can see, Carr definitely close behind Gal now, so we could see a battle on for P2. And Carr, of course, needs to get ahead of Gal if he wants to challenge Volker. Well, yeah, because at the moment Volker is going to win the title. All ends up as it stands. So as we look at Tomaselli right on the back of De Rossa, coming through the middle sector, and so he's following him through. Obviously not able to make a move. As long as he just keeps close, coming into the final corner, he'll be able to make a move on to the onto the front straight, past the rows of adoring fans. Now, meanwhile, of course, Gal, he has closed the gap, actually, to Volker. It's down to 2.7 seconds, but he's got more things to worry about, because he's got Amar Carr, who wants to win the title. He's going to try and get through past Mingles Gal. He's side by side. He's alongside him as they come through into turn 4. Carr is through, is he? Yes, a very easy move. Now, Carr, he was quick in the first sector as well. He's about a 10th up, or nearly 2 tenths, so now he's going to go after Florian Volker in front of him. It looks like Carr definitely has got the pace. Gal will probably try and keep with Carr, because he was actually closing the gap slightly to Volker. So it seems these two do have pace, so Volker's certainly not going to have it very easy in this race. As we look at Lean Campana coming through the centre S is there, down in 19th position. He's behind Laura Chung in the Toro Rosso. And as we see, is he going to try and make a move on Chung? The answer is no, he's not. Although I think, did Chung make a little mistake there? I don't know if she got out of shape. But anyway, at the moment, as I said, still very surprisingly clean so far, but something has got to give. Once the first one goes, or something happens, then it's all going to happen. Meanwhile, Gal still sticking to the back of Carr, so fair play is not letting him go completely out of range. Meanwhile, Willows has actually overtaken Hutter, who, by the way, still has not got past Road of Moitian. Still stayed in 5th position. That's great news for Franco Lopez. So this was on board with Willows. So this was coming through into turn 4. So Willows just on the inside of Hutter, who's been stuck behind Moitian ever since the start, not able to get through. Willows managed to make it through, but now, of course, he's got to get past the pink Mercedes to see if he can get further up the order. But, well, he's not at the moment. He's going to try, I guess, the undercut, because he's going into the pits. Very early stop for Willows, so I would imagine this is probably going to be a 3-stop. Obviously, fresh tyres in wet conditions are probably the best way to go about it. Would a 3-stop work? Don't know. It's tough, really, on this track, but... So he comes in, so he's going to come out well outside of the points, and he's probably going to have to deal with a fair amount of traffic once he comes out. So as he comes in, changes over tyres, and he's going quite long, 30. It'll be interesting to see. So he's 7.9 second stop, and he's going to come out, looks like, right down the back of the field. So he's, going to come out in lots of traffic. Meanwhile, Hutter, once again, on the back of Renault Moitin, but meanwhile, Frank Gamma making a move on Jay McKenzie. Of course, he will be staying at Renault for next season. There was obviously a lot of rumours or people thought that McKenzie was going to go to Red Bull and replace Gallo, who's hasn't had a great season. Meanwhile, Williams has dropped back literally right to the back of the grid, so that's how far he dropped, and he's really forcing his way through past Titkoff here, which he does get through eventually, although Titkoff was certainly not making it very easy, and of course Willows will not have fond memories of Titkoff from this season, that is for sure. Silverstone, anyone? As we see, was on the replay overtaking Titkoff, who really pushed him hard there. Meanwhile, of course, we're looking at Amigos Gal, who, fair play to him, has actually stuck with our car. He's not let him get out of his sights. And there was a pit call, I don't know if that was for car in front or for the leader, but whoever it was, one of the two in front will be hitting. And Frank Gamma goes wide, coming into the final corner and having just made it past. Oh, and not only that, he's lost his wing. And having just made it past, Mackenzie Gamma makes a bad mistake and is now going to have to pit for a new front wing. He's probably going to be pitting in a few laps anyway, so this will be a unscheduled stop. And then you can see Hutter is once again all over the back of Moitin trying to make it through, and we'll probably go back and we'll go to them after we look at this replay of Gamba going wide. So he just locks up, goes wide, and as he rejoins over the curb, you can see how high it is, loses the wing, and unfortunately has to pit for a new one. But of course he will be he was going to be hitting soon anyway. I think it was actually the leader, Florian Volker, who was pitting. Meanwhile, Joel Hutter himself is going to be pitting, and will he finally be able to get past Renault Moitin? And the answer is yes. So typically, of course, he gets past Moitin just before his stop. And I think, what was the gap? 13 seconds, I'm pretty sure the gap was to Franco Lopez. That's how slow Moitin was, despite the fact that Lopez has a ton of fuel in his car. But of course, as I said, Florian Volker at the moment leading this race. He has from the start. Car, you can see, closing the gap now down to 1.5, is going to be pitting for his first stop of the race. So, and a pit call, of course, for Joel Hutter as well, who finally made it past Moitin, but at what cost? So now, as you can see, Volker going to the left, goes into pit entry, and there we go. So now, Volker will come into the pits, and we'll see how much fuel they put into his car. A pit call also for Armar Carr, the now race leader, who's pitting next lap. So, of course, we'll see if he'll be able to, I suppose he'll be able to undercut Volker, or I should say overcut Volker. So, Volker now in. How much fuel are they going to put in? And yeah, it looks like it's probably going to be a 3-stop, I think, for Florian Volker. I imagine most are going to be on either 2 or 3. I don't think, I really don't think 1 is the way to go. But of course, Franco Lopez is trying it, so we'll see what happens with that. Meanwhile, Volker comes out in, looks like just outside of the top 5 in 6th place. Of course, Joel Hutter is now in, so it looks like he'll come out in clear air as long as he comes out ahead of this car that was just coming around the center rest there. I couldn't quite see who that was. I think actually, it was George Roque actually in the Haas. So Volker, if he comes out ahead of Roque, that'll be crucial for him. And the answer is yes, he does. He comes out ahead of Roque, not in traffic, so that's important for him. Roque, who's not pitting for a few laps yet. I think there was a McLaren there. Just out of your shot, I think there was Roberto Gamba that's going to be coming in the pits this lap. So a few drivers coming in for their first stops. Meanwhile, Hutter is going to come out just ahead of this big gaggle of cars, or I say in front of it, in the middle of it, directly in the middle of it, maybe even at the back of it. And that's not really worked out for Hutter. I mean, he's ahead of Willows still, but it's not really worked out well because, of course, all these guys are still going around. Gomez actually is on a 1-stop as well, because that's why he dropped down the order. His fuel was quite a lot. Willows, of course, is still trying to get up to this gaggle of cars, so it might be a long race for some of those guys. Amarkart now does come in for his first stop of the race. He's going to try, I suppose, the overcut on Florian Volker. Gal, of course, continues and will take the lead. Gal will be getting a heart attack. He's not led a race. I don't even know if he's led a race this season, to be honest, but he's leading now. But he is certainly within a chance of winning this race, Nicolas Gal. And people say he was very lucky to get the seat, but he'll certainly, you could say, I probably think he is, but he's got another season to prove himself, and we all know what Gal is capable of. So we'll give him the benefit of the doubt. So meanwhile, Carr comes out of the pits, and where is Volker? It's going to be close. And there is Volker actually. Is Carr possibly even going to jump Florian Volker for the race lead here? It's going to be very close. They're almost coming out side by side. Who's going to come out in front? And Volker is just about. That was a lot closer than I anticipated. And I wonder how much longer Gal is going on for. If he goes on for a lap or two, then pits, he'll be on fresher tyres, and he could still come out ahead. But of course, that was crucial there for him to come out in front. Florian Volker ahead of Armar Carr, but the question is now, can he attack Volker? He has to get past him. He simply has to finish above him. That's the only thing he really can do. It won't, of course, stop Volker winning the title, but he has to at least prevent Volker from doing so in one way or another, or at least reducing, making it easier for him. Meanwhile, Franco Gamba is passing Sontag for P18, who's ahead of the German driver there, having just made his stop. Meanwhile, Volker now is in traffic. This is important for him. He's stuck behind Jay McKenzie, and who is, I think, really stuck behind Roland Moichen, who's still going, of course. He's been holding up everybody. Now, there's a yellow flag out on the circuit. I'm not sure where that is. Oh, and Willows is around. Oh, and Willows has been hit. I think Franco Gamba was involved. Sontag is out. That's his season over, and you really got to feel for him. So what happened here is Willows was on the inside, tried to overtake I think that was Gomez, sorry, and then unfortunately spun right in front of the Williams of Campana there. And then unfortunately Sontag came and collected the car. So as we look at the replay yet again, so Willis was trying to make a move on the inside of Gomez, then lost control of his car right in front of Campana, who also got damage. So did Franco Gamba, and then unfortunately Willis moved his car slightly, and unfortunately Sontag couldn't avoid him, and that's his race over. Very unfortunate there for just for all those drivers. Now this is Armar Carr right behind Florian Volker. I wonder, is Carr made a move past Volker here? For what could be the race lead, possibly. Well, let's not forget about Miklas Gal. So here was Carr right behind, and of course there's Volker trying to get past the Renault, and so Volker is getting past McKenzie, and is Carr going to do the same thing? And the answer is yes. He's going to get past McKenzie. Is he going to get past Volker as well? Volker's overtaken McKenzie, but he's not. He's forgot about Carr. He's on the inside, and does he make it stick? Volker's got a little bit wide, and Carr has got it. Yes, he's through, and he passes Volker. So he's doing everything he can, Carr, to not make it easy for Volker. So at the moment, Carr would take the lead as things stand, as Carr's trying desperately to go around the outside of Roland Moichen. If he does it here, fair play. I've never seen anyone do it, and he's done it. That's quite an incredible move. I've never seen anyone go around the outside of that corner like that. He's just absolutely mugged Roland Moichen off, and he's saying bye to Volker. And wow, this is looking very good for Armar Carr. He really is doing as much as he can. Of course, now Roland Moichen goes to the pits, but we've got to just see this replay. How has he managed to do the move that he just did? I've never seen anyone do it before. So, as we look at coming through the cars, so you can see actually Moichen did run a little bit wide, but even so, you'd expect Moichen would still have to run off the corner. As other side, they were so close to contact there, and you would think Moichen would have the run through, but Carr kept around the outside, which essentially, in the wet conditions, actually a better line, and made the mistake. And this is obviously the view from Volker's car as he sees the red car going into the distance. So, and oh, that was so close. They nearly made contact there. Imagine if he did, then that, well, I say that would have been the championship done right then and there. Lopez, of course, is still racing, but even so. And I wonder if Volker does make the move on Moichen coming through the pit straight. He was in the slipstream of the Force India, so I wonder if he'll make a move, although he's fallen back a little bit, so he might actually make the move. Meanwhile, Willows comes in again. Of course, he is down in, well, essentially last place now, even behind the Franco Gamba. Of course, he might even be lapped by Armar Carr soon, really. That's how bad it's going to get for him. Roland Moichen now coming out of the pits, and I don't know where he's going to come out on the circuit. But at the moment, Miklas Gal still leading. He's going to be going actually quite a few more laps, Gal, so it looks like he is going to be doing the two-stop. As we look at Armar Carr, who essentially will take the risk. What's the gap? Actually, hold on, what's the gap? 19.2. And Lopez is about 6 seconds off, so 19 plus 6 would be about 25. Actually, that could still be close, actually, come to think of it, as Tomaselli, whoa, trying to make it through past Greenwood. That was very close, and he does just about make it through. Let's have a look at that replay again. So Greenwood, who's I think on the long stint, really not letting, wanting to let Jose get through, and there was so nearly contact. He was almost being pushed out wide there by Tomaselli. You could say a little bit unnecessary, but he did what he needed to do to make the move, and there was almost contact. I quite like this camera angle. It does give you some good views. This was actually the onboard view from the wheel of Greenwood's car. So this was him trying to block Tomaselli, and then you can see the car coming onto his left, but fortunately no damage done. So they can continue on their way. Meanwhile, of course, Franco Gamba trying to get past the Williams again. He's probably sick and tired of the sight of the Williams of Lean Campana, but obviously not. So of course now I'll probably have to deal with Sontag next. No, I'll actually have to deal with Titkoff, but even so, if he's sick and tired of the sight of the Williams, this is not the car he probably thinks that he should be battling with. So at the moment, Gal leading, Lopez in second, but of course those two yet to pit, and Lopez is going a long way on this stint. So you never know, don't count Franco Lopez out yet. Of course his tyres are going to be pretty dead in probably about 10 laps time. But of course, car, everything, we've got about a similar fuel, so you never know, as long as Lopez can keep up a relatively decent pace, he could still be in with a shout of a podium, I'd say. But of course, I'm just looking forward to when Nicolas Gal does make his final stop of the race. I say final stop, I mean first stop. Well, the final stop will be interesting too, of course, but for Gal, as he goes past the Manor there, so the gap to Lopez, I think, is, well, it's about 6.9, 7 seconds essentially. And I wonder if that gap's going to go up. See as they come through, and it's about 6.9, so it stayed about the same. Meanwhile, Roberto Gamba trying to go past Etienne Jones, coming down the front straight, heading towards the first corner. And is he through? The answer is yes. And he's up the inside and goes into 16th position. It goes past Etienne Jones, because this will be his last race in the OC2. He doesn't have a drive for next season. He'd been a Manor for, what is it, 3 seasons now? 4? 3 or 4. But he won't be getting another one, that's for sure. He won't be on the grid in the top tier. I don't know if he'll be on the grid in any of the other tiers, or what tiers he signed up for. Meanwhile, this is Moichin trying to get past De Rossa in the McLaren. Was pushing him through the corner there. So he's down in 10th position. Meanwhile, I saw a pit call there. Couldn't quite see who it was for. Went a bit too quickly. And that is, I think that's George Roque actually, who is going to go in, who's, I think, in the pits actually even. Meanwhile, Moichin is all over the back of De Rossa in the McLaren. And I think he's going to try and make a move coming through down the front straight as Roque is in the pit, as I said. So Moichin is going to make it through past the pole. Hungarians and Poles working together. So Moichin on the inside, and he's doing De Rossa actually is going to be pitting this lap, as a matter of fact. So there we go. Move done easily there. I wonder where Roque comes out onto the circuit. I think he came out just outside of the top 10, so behind Moichin and De Rossa, but he won't have traffic to deal with. Meanwhile, of course, Willows, embarrassingly, is now trying to get past Byrne. Willows about to be lapped by his teammate, Armar Carr. Unfortunately, that shows just how badly that this race has gone for Willows. And I suppose you could say it's not really of his own making. But here we go, Nicolas Gal actually still got a fair few laps of fuel to go, but he's going to be pitting this lap, so he's going to be doing it early. So at the moment, the gap 7 seconds. So 7 seconds of Lopez. I think Carr was about 20 seconds behind. So I wonder if Gal will still come out in second, or maybe even first. I think this could be very close. I have to say, I thought Gal would go on a lap or two later, but I suppose he maybe just thought the tyres were about done. So we'll see where Nicolas Gal comes out. This will be a crucial stop for him as he comes in. So, of course, Franco Lopez will take the lead of this race. So here we go. And Gal is in. So, how much fuel did they put into his car? About 31 laps. So, yep, that will be a 2-stop, that's for sure. So, the crucial thing is, will he come out ahead of Carr and ahead of Volker? Will he come out behind Carr and ahead of Volker, or even behind the two? And the answer is, okay, yeah. Okay, yeah. It looks like it was way behind anyway, but of course Gal will be on much fresher tyres than these two, so of course I got confused actually a little bit there between the gaps, of course, because sometimes the gap can be 7 seconds Lopez and then 20 seconds behind, so my bad there. But anyway, so Gal will come out in what essentially will be third position when Franco Lopez pits, although it's not for a while. But as I said, Gal will be on fresher tyres, and his pace, to be honest, was actually pretty good. He was keeping up with Carr for a while, so who knows? I think don't count Gal out of this race just yet, that's for sure. So meanwhile, now Turin is under pressure from Joel Hutton, of course, what will be his last race for Red Bull. Now Turin trying to make a move on the inside of Byrne into the first corner. Byrne defending from the tie. And now Turin on the inside, and this is a move easily done for him. Is it? Yes, maybe, or is he going to keep it? Is Byrne going to try and keep the run? Nope, I think now Turin has got it. Now he's through, and I think Hutton is going to follow him through, and yes, he does. Byrne losing new positions here, and Hutton might actually get past the Force India as well, coming down into turn 4. He's on the inside, Hutton, but of course he's trying to get past Moichin, of course. No, he's not trying to get past Moichin. Trying to get past now Turin. He's trying to get past a pink car anyway, but he's finally done it, and he's finally through. But of course now he's actually got to deal with his favourite driver from this race, Roberto Moichin, who's been holding him up almost this entire time. Meanwhile, we're looking at Carr, who looks set to lap his teammate, Joseph Willows, coming down the front straight. That'll be pretty embarrassing for Willows. He won't want to see this race back again. But yeah, it's fortunate for him. But now Turin, of course, trying to keep ahead of Byrne there. But Lopez, so far, one of the few drivers who's yet to pit. He hasn't pitted. Jay McKenzie has yet to pit either. We'll see as we go through the rest of the order who else has yet to pit. Byrne, of course, actually is yet to stop. Now Tiernan, I don't think he stopped. No, he hasn't. He hasn't either. So a few drivers still yet to go in at this moment in time. But Chung there, Greenwood. So of course a whole variation of strategies here at the Brazilian Grand Prix. And I said I honestly don't know who's going to win this race. But at the moment, of course, Franco Lopez is leading. Still got a heck of a lot of fuel that he's going to blow up before he goes into the pits. But of course he's been leading, and so far he's been on his own really. He hasn't had to deal with any traffic or any cars. As meanwhile Gal trying to get past his Williams, he was holding him up a little bit, but he finally does make it through. Of course Volker is not that far ahead of him, so I wonder if he'll close up to him and also Carr. Of course they're trying to deal with traffic as well. And of course Carr's got past his teammate Willows, who himself is trying to get past the Manor here. So he's going to move up, it looks like, to 17th position past Etienne Jones. And he's set to go past coming down the pit straight. And he's on the inside. This will be an easy move. And he is through. Unless Jones tries to make it back, but I don't think he will. But now he does make it through. And now Jones, of course, will let the Mercedes of Volker go by. Although he's been held up a little bit there. I don't think he'll be too appreciative of that. But we look at Willows right now in P17. Volker right now, what's the gap to Gal? It is about 4.2 seconds. Of course, Gal's just got past Jones. Meanwhile, Tomaselli trying to get past Jones for actually full position. And it looks like he's now finally up into P18 past the British driver. So there we go. Now Campana might even have a run if he's close enough. I think he's quite close enough. He's nearly there. Just needs a little bit more oomph. Just not quite able to make it there. As we look at Volker in P3 at this moment in time. With the way things, of course, are standing, he would be champion because he's running in third. As long as he finishes in the top 6, he will be absolutely fine. But of course, if he doesn't, because I remember what happened last year with Will Neller, he had to come through the field and he finished, I think, I'm pretty sure he actually, quite ironically, I'm pretty sure he finished, was it 6th or 7th? I think if I remember rightly, he finished actually 6th, but then he was demoted, I think, to 7th for a time penalty for passing under yellow flags, I think, if I remember rightly. So yeah, so it's kind of almost like a deja vu moment in a way. But as we look now at Carr, he's still keeping the gap to... he's now actually, I should say, right close to the front of Franco Lopez, who of course is now struggling. And now set to be unlapped by, I believe that is Franco Gamba, coming into the first corner. So it's not going to be long until Carr passes Franco Lopez. Has been leading for quite a few laps. The gap now less than a second as... the Haas unlaps himself, but of course now Lopez will unlap him, will lap him again, I think, will he? Yes, but of course Carr is right there now. He is now going to finally, he's going to lap the Haas, and now he's going to try and pass Lopez for what is essentially the lead of the race. Of course Lopez not really putting up much of a defence, and oh no, he's not actually, I thought he'd already passed the Haas, but the Haas is now actually going past Lopez once again. So this is going to be very interesting. Franco Gamba really getting involved in this leading battle, but of course Lopez leading, but surely it's not going to be for long because Carr is there. And Volker's going to be there too as well. And I wonder actually if they keep on each other up as much as they are, Gal will be there pretty soon as well. So yes, get your popcorn ready out, people, because we are about to have a great battle on our hands. So there we are. So Carr right behind, of course. I think Willows is in this, but of course he isn't. But he might try and still help his teammate possibly in this battle. But of course there's Volker as well in the background, and Gal just about coming through the corner in shot. But as we look at Franco Lopez, who's really struggling with his tyres now. He's been going for, well, since the start, obviously. And he's still got quite a few laps to go before he pits. So, as you can see, actually, the Haas getting away. And now, look at that. Volker launching his way down the inside of Joseph Willows there. Now, he's going to be right in the thick of this battle for the lead. Meanwhile, Amakar is about to overtake Lopez for P1. He is just about on the inside as they come down the front straight. This is the battle for P1. Carr is surely going to make the move into the first corner. And the answer is yes. And oh, there's contact ahead. And Greenwood has spun, having made contact with Gamba, who's coming right back onto the track in front of Amakar. Meanwhile, Lopez is there too. And now Volker is there. And now everything is happening here. I keep thinking this is about for the lead. Willows, why did you have to go a lap down? This would make it even more interesting than it already is. And there's cars moving left to right. And wow, so at the moment Lopez does keep P2 just ahead of Volker. But let's have a look at what happened just in front. This was the battle between Franco Gamba and David Greenwood. They made contact. Greenwood actually was pitting this lap, and unfortunately Gamba went out in front of him there. They made contact and they spun. And so that's what happened. And so this is now Volker trying to get through past his teammate. And meanwhile, of course, Carr, I think, has just lapped Gamba and I think Tomaselli in front. And Volker now does get past Lopez. Meanwhile, Gallo, I think, has just lapped Gallo's just lapped Joseph Willis, I should say. But, oh god, this is all happening. And we're already 30 laps in. We've still got about over half the race to go. And anything can still happen. Meanwhile, Gabriel Gomez battling with Franco Gamba here. This is for P13, but of course they've got the two Mercedes who, well, particularly Volker will want them to get out of their way. And of course now Miklas Gau is right here in the thick of it now. He's on fresh tyres, or fresher than the guys in front. Look at this, they're coming through the haven. They're all side by side. Gau is right there trying to sneak his way through. And he might do so, and he has. He's snuck his way through past Lopez for P3 there. Great move there by Miklas Gau. Really taking advantage of all this traffic, holding each other up. And so as you look at the onboard from Gau, you can see they were almost side by side, 2 by 2 in front. So nearly contact, and of course Lopez didn't have any momentum for the corner, and Gau just snuck his way through past. So he's now up into P3, and he'll now go after the car in front of as we look at Lopez now trying to get back past Gau for P3, and surely Gal's not going to let this happen. Side by side between the two, and it is going to happen, I think. As Lopez incredibly does get past back past Miklas Gau, which he'll not be impressed with because he'll have wanted to have gone after Florian Volker, the other Mercedes in front. So quite amazing that this has happened, but this is good news for Armor Car. It's allowing him to get away. He's now got a 5-second gap ahead of Volker in front of him, so it's all happening. But of course now Gau is going to once again get past Franco Lopez into the first corner. Surely it's going to be the move secure. And there was an engine problem for somebody. I didn't quite see who that was, but someone had an engine failure. Meanwhile, Gau does make it through. And who was it? An engine problem. And it was Joel Hutter. And Joel Hutter, in his last race, is set to retire from the Brazilian Grand Prix. Unfortunately, not the way he would have wanted to have gone out. He wasn't having, well, compared to his teammate Gau, wasn't having the best of races. But unfortunately, he is going to be getting nothing from this race. And he is out. So a fitting end to what has been quite a season, or quite a couple of seasons, really. I mean, the fact that Hutter's even at Red Bull in the first place was still quite amazing. But as I said, his race is over, and that is the second retirement of the race. Meanwhile, Roland Moichin has gone into the pits for another stop. That means George Roque now moves into the top 5 temporarily. So, and there's the engine problem on the screen there. So this was Joel Hutter coming through. He was running in very lonely city. He was closing up to the back of his favourite Hungarian racing driver, Roland Moichin, who'd been holding him up for the first part of the race, or for the first stint anyway. And so there was the problem. It came just as he was coming through into the middle part of the track, the technical section. And so there we go. That is his race over. Meanwhile, this is a battle for P15. Unfortunately, Gabriel Gomez not able to do a great race for his fans, although he's on a pretty terrible strategy. Meanwhile, Chung is going to go around the outside and past Gabriel Gomez for 6th deep position. Gap up front actually is about 5.4, so I think Volker may have reduced the gap down slightly. Lopez now 14 seconds off the lead car, just showing obviously the power of the fresh tyres there. And God, just imagine actually if Lopez does actually have to pit again after a stop. I wouldn't imagine he would, but I suppose you never know. He could have another collision or a problem. But as we look at Tomaselli, he should now try to get past his teammate Gomez. He's going to go for it in the slipstream, but I don't think he's going to be able to make the move stick, as Tomaselli actually makes a little mistake there, gets a little bit twitchy, so that ends any chance of that happening. So yeah, I mean, this race has just been amazing so far, but as I said, at this moment in time, even though Carr is leading, it is irrelevant because, of course, Volker would be the champion. It will be a 5-time world champion. So, as we look now at this battle, this is for P9. This is between, I believe this is, I think, De Rosa and Evan Byrne, as they look at him coming through into turn 4. And De Rosa is on the inside. And yep, he's made it through. And that is Roberto Gamba up into P9. And actually it's De Rosa who's behind in 11th. That's why I was getting a little bit confused there. But as Tomaselli has now passed Gomez, and now he's under pressure from lean compounds. So for Gomez, unfortunately, been a pretty dreadful race from his perspective. Meanwhile, Armor Car, the race leader, comes in for his second stop of the race. So of course the big question will be, will he go to the end? I don't imagine he would, but well, if he does go to the end, from here, fair play. But I think he'll be definitely be doing one more stop, and he'll be on the 3. I think a lot of drivers actually are on the 3-stop strategy here. Probably about maybe nearly half the field. So heads in, and yep, he'll be pitting once more before the end. So he's going to be going for it. And so he comes out of the pits, 6.6 seconds. So he's going to come out. He'll come up behind Franco Lopez, of course. But I think crucially for Car, of course, Lopez will be pitting in a couple of laps' time. And finally, Lopez will be onto fresher tyres, which of course he'll be definitely delighted by, considering the fact he's been on the same terrible tyres for 36 laps, and particularly in this in these wet conditions as well. So as we see Lopez now still going around in P3. Car coming out of the pits in P4. He'll be up to the back of Lopez in no time, and he'll definitely overtake him very quickly, or he would hope so anyway. So of course that allows Volker to lead the race, although it might not be for long because Miklas Gall is on the charge, and I did say on the fresher tyres he could be a threat, and right now he is, and Miklas Gall definitely is in contention here for a possible win. And would he make the move here around the outside? And he might do so. Gall side by side for the race lead. Is Gall going to make the move stick? It's still side by side. Is Gall going to have the run? And yes, he is. Miklas Gall does take the lead of this race with another great move around the outside, like your favourite Eminem song. And there we go. So Miklas Gall takes the lead of this race, and he really wants to get that race win for Red Bull, of course. That race win that has eluded them all season. And that will be a great way to end what has been a pretty, I'd say a tough season for Red Bull, but pretty difficult season. They've been close to obviously win a couple of times, it's not quite happened for them. This is definitely, this is their best chance. This is their last chance to do it, really. So as we look at Gall now coming through on the outside, and of course around the outside in the wet, as we know, it can actually be a better line, of course, in the wet than it is in the dry. Meanwhile, this is Gall trying to get past the two McLarens of De Rosa and now Roberto Gamba. Meanwhile, Volker going to take a launch down the inside. Oh my word! And just imagine if he'd gone into the side of Gall there. Who knows what would have happened? Well, I know what would have happened. There would have been damage, but of course it would have depended on how much damage would there be. But now Miklas Gall is going to try and get past the other McLaren, but as I said, that was just unbelievably close. I knew Volker was going to launch it down the inside, and I was thinking, surely he isn't. And his life, Volker there, Mercedes' life, Toto Wolff's life, flashed before their eyes. But fortunately, they're still in it. And crucially, of course, there's no damage done to the cars. Now, meanwhile, De Rosa trying to get past Roberto Gamba, and not being able to do so. So this is about, of course, for ninth position now. Meanwhile, Gall going past the Force India there, I think, of now Tiranen. So he laps him. Gall's still leading. He's going to be pitting round, I think, about the lap. He could be pitting around about the lap 50 mark, probably between 50 and 55, I'd say. So he's going to be going for quite a few more laps. So we'll see actually how much he can extend the gap to Florian Volker behind him, of course. Meanwhile, Car in third position, trying to close the gap as well. Volker trying to get through this Force India, having to take a unusual line around the outside here. Have the better run off the corner, although he's not being able to get through as easily as he would have expected. He finally does. Of course, Gall, as you can see, is getting away in the distance, but of course Volker is going to be pitting soon. And I wonder, actually, would Volker go to the end? I don't know. It'd be tough, but if he doesn't, he'd pit late on. But as at this moment in time, he would still win the championship, so I guess it doesn't really matter. Doesn't need to take any risks. But we'll see what he decides to do. Meanwhile, this is De Rosa trying to go past his teammate Gamba into turn 1. And De Rosa, I believe, is through. He's on the inside. Nose is in front. And yep, he's through. Up another position. So there we go. Moves up another place. Up from 2 points from 1. Meanwhile, Florian Volker now does come into the pits. Comes a little bit earlier than I was expecting. So I just wonder, will Volker go to the end here or not? That is the big question. So into the pits he comes, and let's see, does he do it or not? So Volker comes in, changes all 4 tyres. Will he go to the end? The answer is no, he doesn't actually. So he doesn't decide to go for it. So I think that's fair enough. Not taking any risks here, and I suppose why should you really, when I suppose you're about to win the title? Is the big thing really. But hey ho. So the pit stop was about 7.5 seconds. Volker in P3. Although he might come up behind Lopez, actually might be P4. So meanwhile, Willard's actually fair play to him. Is actually now at the moment back into the points. Good recovery from where he was. Meanwhile, Lopez still struggling to get around the corner. So Volker does come out behind Franco Lopez, but of course he will be pitting again. Meanwhile, this is Franco Lopez who finally, wow, wow. Just imagine the scenes if, just imagine the scenes if what almost happened there happened. If Franco Lopez had unwittingly taken out his teammate there. I really was fearing for the worst, and thank the Lord it did not happen. That was just sketchy as anything. Wow. So anyway, Franco Lopez does come in on the one stop and will of course be going to the end. He is going to be quite far down in the points, but we'll see how well he can do on fresher tyres, and I suppose his fuel is only slightly lighter than what it was at the start, but still, it could make all the difference for him. But I suppose the only difference it won't make to him would be the championship, of course, which he would have wanted to win, which it doesn't look like it is going to happen at this moment in time, unfortunately. But of course, the crucial thing will be see if he can get second in the championship, although that doesn't look like that's going to happen either. So it looks like it's going to be third at this moment in time, because of course Carr is ahead of him in the championship, because it was only 1 point gap. Carr was in second for this race, 90 points behind, whereas Franco Lopez was just 20 points behind, and as if you can do basic maths, it's a 1 point difference. So I don't know what the gap is out front between Carr and Miguel Scow. It's about, was it 12 seconds? Of course, Gal will be pitting once more to see, and at the moment, at this moment in time, it's looking pretty good for Miguel Scow. Volker actually 37 seconds behind, so Gal is looking in the most favourable position here, that is for sure. As we see, Willow's obviously battling with now turning, and of course that is Chung trying to get through too, but being unable to do so. But she's going to be pitting once more before the end as well. So I still don't know what the order of this race is going to be. Anything can still happen in these last 30 laps. And so Chung now does dive down the inside of now turning and will take 10th place away from the tyre driver, who himself, of course, will be pitting once more before the end, but pitting a lot earlier than Chung will. So see how that works out. Gal will be pitting in about 10 laps time or so, maybe even less, as Byrne avoids running into the back of Gomez there as he comes into the pits, as the blue flag symbol now comes out for him for the faster car behind, about to lap him to move out of the way. Ronan Moichi at the moment running in fourth. A pretty solid race from him, you have to say. Roke right now just behind him in P5, because those two will be teammates for next season. Meanwhile, we look at Gabriel Gomez battling with the McLaren. This is for what is essentially, well, he's battling with the McLaren to try and not be unlapped. But of course that McLaren will then of course unlap him then. Meanwhile, Franco Gamma trying to get past now turn. This is for 11th position, as they're coming down towards the first corner, and Gamba is on the inside. And this should be a move, is it? Yep, he's through, up into 10th position now. Now Turner will be lapped from the faster car behind, blue flag, so you will need to get out of the way to let the faster car through. That faster car being the current championship leader and could be title winner for the 5th time, Florian Volker. So the gap is coming down, well, it's actually 35 seconds, gone up slightly because he was held up in that traffic, Volker, but he could still close up. Well, he needs to close up to less than 30 seconds if he wants any chance of getting ahead of Gal. But of course, Volker is pitting before Gal. I think actually he's going slightly longer, but it's pretty close actually fuel-wise. Only a slight difference, but at the moment in time, unless the gap is at least below 30 seconds, Volker can't do anything. And at the moment for Miklas Gal, it's looking pretty good for him to possibly take his first win of the season, first and only win of the season for Red Bull. Meanwhile, Roland Moichen trying to get past all this traffic here, and meanwhile Roke trying to get past traffic too. He's in 6th. I believe he made a stop. I don't know, because he was in 5th behind Moichen, so he must have made another stop. Meanwhile, Jay McKenzie at the moment in 5th, but I think he'll have to pit once more before the end. Lopez down in 7th, so unfortunately, of course, for him, the one stop at this moment in time is not working out very well for him. But of course, we've still got plenty of time left to go in this race, so anything can happen. So as we look at the Sauber going through, Roberto Gamba has actually passed Tomaselli for 12th up in the order. Willers at the moment down in 14th, sorry, having just made another stop. So meanwhile, Lopez now trying to do some unlapping, trying to get past this Williams here. And does he get through? The answer is yes. Finally goes around the outside. And so he's closing up to the back of George Roque in front of him. But at the moment, Miguel Scow chilling out in front, although Carr is definitely closing the gap to him. It's only 5.4 seconds. So this could be close, actually. So we could still see a great battle between, looks like Gal and Carr for the race win. Volker, of course, is closing the gap. It is actually now down to 30 seconds. So it still could be on. So this could be a very fascinating battle to see who wins. But the wins the race. But of course, I think the championship is all but decided at this moment in time, and as I say that, anything could still happen, but it's just, you never know what's going to happen. We've still got 25 laps to go of this race, and we've had a lot of action, of course, in Brazil, and typically, of course, it would be raining, as it sometimes does. We've generally had a lot of dry races, but this has been one wet race, Very wet race, I might add, of course. 96% chance of rain, and of course it's going to be raining throughout the race, and of course I wouldn't be surprised if it's all flooded at the end of it. So meanwhile, Willow's trying to recover positions from his mishaps in the race, trying to get past Tomaselli in front of him, and he's through up into 12th position. So as we look at Volker now lapping cars, he does so, lapping the Toro Rosso there. And as he comes through, what's the gap? I don't know what, I'm interested what the gap is to Car. Doesn't show it, no, doesn't unfortunately show it. The gap though between Car and Gal is coming down lap by lap, so as I said, anything can happen in this race, and it usually does, to quote Murray Walker. So as we look at Gamba now trying to get past Laura Chung, this is the battle for 9th position. Gamba on the inside, and surely he's going to make the move stick, and yes he does, and oh well, there's contact though, and Chung is around, and you can see that was going to happen as now Chung rejoins. Hopefully she doesn't do a Willows from 2008, I think it was, when Willows spun off and he spent about 10 minutes trying just doing donuts for the fans. There was the contact there, and of course Chung spinning round, and Chung does rejoin, but of course loses a lot of time. Meanwhile, we're looking at Gabriel Gomez in the Sauber, who's currently in 20th position. He is plumb last, and I wonder what is going to happen to him, and the answer is he's going to go off, and it looks like he's going to hit the wall, and yes it is. So Gabriel Gomez couldn't really have had a worse race if he tried in front of his home fans. It's just not gone well for him, and unfortunately that is the icing on the cake. Goes into the wall, a heavy impact. That's his race over. So there we go. You got to feel for him. Unfortunately, it's not his race. Gomez himself, he's had a pretty decent season, although Tomaselli actually has. You can say Tomaselli's outperformed him, but Gomez himself has not had a bad season per se. Just Tomaselli has performed, you could say, generally better than him. But as we look at Armakar, this is actually for the lead. Armakar has now caught Miklas Gal and has now passed him. Although will Gal try and get the lead back into the first corner? He's going to go for it. Car goes a bit wide there. Will Gal try and go around the outside and take the lead back? The answer is no, he can't, and Car does crucially take the lead of the Brazilian Grand Prix on lap 49, so he's still got just over 20 laps to go, but that's crucial. So Car trying everything he can, and it's technically at the moment it's going to be all for nothing, but he's really trying. He wants to win that championship. Of course, he's just got to hope now that it goes wrong for Florian Volker behind him. At the moment in time it's not, but as I said, you never know what can happen here. So as we look at Franco Lopez right now running in 6th position, he has got past the Haas of Roque at long last, but of course he'll be going to the end, so he'll gain probably a couple of positions. He'll probably finish in the looks like probably the top 4, top 5. But as we look at now Tiranen, who is behind, this is Evan Byrne in the Renault, and he's set to take the position away from him, and now Tiranen trying to get through past the Renault. He's alongside him, and he's already ahead. His nose is ahead, coming across the line, and he's going to move up another position. So there we go. It's up to 14th. Although Byrne, will he try and hang around the outside? Nope, he doesn't. So meanwhile, Car, of course, leading this race. He'll be pitting, I think, around about the same time as Gal, although I wonder if Gal will maybe try and do the undercut on Car. Who knows, as they come across the line. And yes, and just as I say that, Gal is going to be pitching this lap, so of course the tyres must be dead for him, so he's going to try and go for it, the undercut, to try and win this race. Meanwhile, Franco Gamba behind De Rosa seemed to make a little mistake, although De Rosa seemed to go quite slowly through the final corner there. So now Gamba is in the slipstream and is surely going to try and make a move coming down the front straight. This is the battle for P8, the Italian versus the Polish man, and now Gamba is already through way past De Rosa before the first corner, and of course Gamba's going to slot his car in front, and yep, there we go. So he is ahead of Zarossa into the first corner, up into P8. So good move there by him. Meanwhile, we look at Rodemoichin having a very good race. At the moment, running in P4. We haven't seen much of him actually throughout, but he is doing a very good job, that is for sure. So we're looking at Roque right now in 7th position. He's got now Trinity behind him, although that's not the battle for position. Of course, Gal falling away from Car, but he's going to be pitching this lap, and he's going to obviously try and go for it. He wants to take this win. He wants to take his first and only win for Red Bull this season. Haas, of course, was crucially denied at Mexico by Haas, you could say, by George Roque, who had an impact obviously after coming out of the pits, and of course I don't think Red Bull will probably ever forgive Roque for that. But anyway, so Miklas Gal is set to come in for his final stop of the race on lap 50, so this is going to be crucial for him to see if he can undercut Armakar and win this race, or at least have a go at winning this race. So he'll come in, so drop behind Volker obviously into third, but he'll come out ahead of Rolomoitin. Meanwhile, as Roke getting overtaken there by now Turin, of course, but that is not for position. Gal comes in, will of course be going to the end as the fuel comes in, and there we go. So now Gal's just got to hope that he doesn't have to deal with much traffic, or that if he, well, he will, but at least if he doesn't have to deal with a lot of traffic, then of course he will come out ahead of Carr. But of course we'll see what Carr's pace is like at this moment in time. So he'll come out in P3, Miguel Gal. So he's had a great race. He's really tried his best. He's tried everything he can. So you can't say he's not put the effort in to try and win this race. So as Gal comes out of the pits, it'll be in P3. Rolomoitin, of course, has come across the line. Gal will be going to the end, so he comes up just behind that Haas there. Meanwhile, Carr is just coming behind this Toro Rosso of Greenwood, and now he does finally go past. So Carr's not pitting this lap, so I wonder if he'll go one more lap and then pit it, if he'll try and stay ahead of Gal. The gap is from Volker to Gal's about 8 seconds, so it's about over 30 seconds. But of course, Gal, once he gets those tyres up to temperature, it will be important for him. Of course, Volker himself, who's going to be pitting maybe next lap or in the next probably couple of laps or so to go to the end at this moment in time. Of course, he will be winning the title. It doesn't matter what happens. Well, of course, if Carr doesn't finish, then of course the title is his anyway, because Franco Lopez is no threat to him, that is for sure. We're looking at now Turin, of course, who is trying to get past Tomaselli in front of him, and now Turin's on the inside, and he does make a mistake. He's through to 30. We've got a yellow flag out, and Franco Gamba is around. He is around, and I don't know, that's an unusual place to spin. He rejoins, and there's damage there, I think. I'm not sure what's happened there. And oh no! Oh no! And well, there we go. That has just surely ended any chance that Miguel Gal has of winning a race this season. He has gone into the back of Franco Gamba, caught him at unfortunately the wrong time. And wow, so Gamba spun, Gal's kept it on the circuit, but unfortunately he has got damage. Although I think actually, Gamba was pitching this lap anyway. I thought he had a problem, but of course he was trying to let the Red Bull go through, but unfortunately just caught him at the wrong time. And sadly for him, he is going to be getting nothing from this race. Oh dear me. And well, he's not going to be getting a win. Gamba, he could still get the points, but of course Gal not getting a win from this race when he was within a shout of getting it. It's a punch to the heart, that is for sure. So unfortunate for him. So Gal will be coming in and pitting for a new nose for even fresher tyres than a couple of laps ago. That's even possible. And of course we'll be going to the end, so no fuel added because he'd be going to the end anyway. Just fresher tyres, so Gal will try and go for it. I mean, maybe go for the fastest lap. I don't really think that will necessarily be possible, but because I think the track's probably wet than it is before, as the Force India there of Moitin coming in for his final stop of the race. I think that was Gamba, of course, just coming in for his wing replacement as well. So Renault Moitin, you have to say, doing a very solid race at the moment in Brazil. Very good indeed. He's set to take, it looks like, a top 5 finish maybe. Well, that's Franco Lopez. Actually, he's come out in P6, so it might be top 6, but he could get top 5 if he can pass Franco Lopez. But we'll see if he can do that. Meanwhile, Amar Carr, who was going to be under threat from Gal, isn't anymore. Volker is way behind, so it looks like Amar Carr has pretty much been handed victory on a plate, really. So we'll see as he comes into the pits, and the gap to Volker, couldn't quite see what it was, but at the moment, of course, Jay McKenzie right now running in 3rd position, but of course that is not going to last. I think McKenzie, I'm pretty sure, has to pit. Lopez will take 3rd, actually, so Lopez, after all that, might actually still have 3rd, but of course Gal will be on much fresher tyres than him as well, so don't see it lasting for long. Volker is just coming across the line there, but of course Volker will temporarily take the lead back. He'll have to pit, but of course he'll just be gleaming really, because he knows that he's got one hand on the title at this moment in time. Meanwhile, Willer's trying, of course, to get into the lower reaches of the points to at least get something from this race. So as we look at McKenzie, who himself, of course, is pitting in probably in a few laps time really. So this is the battle for P3. So McKenzie somehow managing to get P3 out of all this, but of course it won't last because Franco Lopez is right behind him. It looks like he's going to overtake the Polish driver for 3rd place, coming across the line through the pit entry and now coming across the pit straight. And this is going to be a pretty easy move for Franco Lopez on the inside into 3rd position, and there we go. So it looks like Lopez will at least get 3rd position, although if Gal has anything to do with it, he might take it off him, and I have a feeling he probably might, because he'll be pretty angry with the situation that occurred for him. Meanwhile, Franco Gamba trying to get past Tomaselli in the Sauber, set to be named Alfa Romeo for next season. He's on the inside, and Franco Gamba is going to overtake him and take 13th position, or 14th I should say, away. And now Franco Gamba might try and go after 13th position. Meanwhile, of course, Roke is coming up to these guys, so of course Roke might actually lap his teammate as well. Of course, it was actually Gamba that technically, I think, had the edge over Roke earlier on in the season, but the tables have certainly turned. Roke has scored points in at least half the races that he has done, so he's had a very, very impressive season, that is for sure, and well deserved by getting that Force India seat set to be Racing Point for next season. So, as we look at Willows now right behind Roberto Gamba, this is of course the battle for P9. Willows trying to get some points at the race. He will be pitting once more before the end, so we'll see if he still is able to get some points. So as he comes across the line, he is passing Roberto Gamba very easily indeed. Angel first corner, Roberto Gamba doesn't bother putting up a defence, and so now he is through up into 9th position. So good work there by Willows. So I wonder if he'll be able to get anything else out of this race. Meanwhile, there's a car just coming out of the pits there. That's Lean Coppola just coming out ahead of Titkoff there. And, Titkoff almost running into the back of the Williams. And I just saw there, actually, Miguel Scal setting the fastest lap of the race. So the pace was absolutely there for Miguel Scal. And you've got to really feel for him that, unfortunately, a possible race win has been taken away so cruelly like it has. But with that fastest lap, he's definitely going to pass Lopez for 3rd place. I'm absolutely sure of it. Well, he'll get past Mackenzie as well. But he's definitely going to get 3rd, I think, Miguel Scal. He's so much quicker than him. He's so much quicker than Franco Lopez, and Mackenzie as well. But of course, Franco Lopez is just—he's not going to be able to have any defence. Unfortunately for Lopez, he'll try, but of course it'll be all for nothing because at this moment in time, Volker pitting, of course, from the race lead, going to come out in 2nd. But of course, he is going to secure the championship as things stand, and things have just slowly managed to go his way. Really, that is for sure. So he comes now into the pits for his final stop of the race, and he can really go easy for the last 15 plus laps. So this is going to be very interesting, of course, indeed. So as he comes out of the pits, Franco Lopez just coming about to come across the line. So Volker coming out in P2, as to be expected. 5.2 seconds stop there that was for him. Not really a surprise. So as we look now at Tomaselli, who's being lapped by the Ferrari there. It goes past me while George Rogan into the pits for his final stop of the race as well. He had a pretty solid race too. Actually recovered quite a few positions from where he qualified as well. He did the same in Abu Dhabi, and he's set to do the same in Brazil, proving what a great season that Roque has had. But of course, Tomaselli himself actually is going to be pitting this lap as well, so it looks like he's not going to be getting any points from this race either. So as we look at Franco Lopez coming through in P3, but Gal is going to be right there very soon by probably even lap 59, I think even. He'll probably be with him and past him. Meanwhile, Car, of course, well clear of Florian Volker at the front. Of course, Volker will close that gap by the end. He's not going to be able to overtake Carr, but of course, he doesn't need to. But so you've got to feel sorry for Carr as well, because, of course, in Abu Dhabi, he got taken out by Joel Hutter in the Red Bull. Just imagine if that didn't happen. This championship would be so much closer. So it really, really... but you really got to feel for him that just that Abu Dhabi race was quite unfortunate, of course, being taken out by Hutter there. That was the race that is, at this moment in time, looks to have unfortunately denied Carr the championship. And it would have been his first championship as well. It would have been so good for him too, coming from the bottom ranks. I remember when he joined first back in 2009. It was for Toro Rosso. I think it was the second half of the season, but. Even so, coming from there, now could have even taken a championship, but still, at this time, it looks like he'll be the runner-up, because he would have preferred the championship, but for next season, he'll be very much looking forward to trying to get the championship again in the Ferrari. So, meanwhile, looking at the battle for 3rd place that's set to happen, Gal only now less than a second away from Lopez. It was 1.4, but he's gained like nearly a second there, no surprise. So it looks like Gal is surely going to be past Lopez. I wonder if we'll see Gal getting past him on the front straight. Meanwhile, Evan Byrne trying to lap some cars here, trying to get through. He's on the inside of this manor, although he takes a very wide line there, but does eventually make it through. There we go. As we look now at him coming through into the final corner. Evan Byrne, unfortunately, has actually had a pretty decent season. This race not gone as well as he would have wanted, but of course he'll be pretty happy with how it has gone. Mackenzie at the moment running in P. Oh no! And what has just happened there? Mackenzie has just run into the back of the lap car that I think was going to the pits. And so Jay Mackenzie was actually pitting. Well, he wasn't pitting this lap. He was coming through. Got caught out by the slow McLaren there. And Mackenzie was actually set to pit anyway. Has to do a slightly unscheduled stop there and pits for a new front wing. So unfortunately for Jay Mackenzie, he might lose a position or two here. So he changed his front wing, the tyres as well. So just not the way. He got caught out there. I think it was the Haas of was it the Haas of Roke? I think it was. It might have been Gamma actually. That was going slow there, but that was quite scary. Now here's the battle for third, but unfortunately for Mackenzie, as I said, he would have been finishing higher in the top 10, but he might finish in the lower reaches of it now. But of course, this is the battle for third. Lopez is probably not gonna be able to defend from Gal. Lopez is really gonna have to concede. He could battle it, but it's just gonna be all for nothing because Gal is so much quicker than he is. He set the fastest lap of the race as well, Gal. So that proves everything you need to know about Gal's paces. Now Gal is obviously on the inside and is set to take third place away from Lopez, coming into the first corner into the center S's, and he's through. So very easily done there for Miklas Gal. So he's now up into third. So there we go. That is that sorted. So it looks like that's the third place battle over. Meanwhile, Joseph Willers set to come into the pits for his final stop of the race for Ferrari, of course. It looks like he might just about get some points, might get the last few. Had some good form in the last few races, of course. He definitely was very unlucky this season. There's definitely 2 or 3 races where he, where I'm pretty sure I remember, of course, as far as I know, he was involved in incidents and had problems that were not of his own making, and that unfortunately means that he was a lot further off in the championship than it looked. But of course, he was definitely one of the unluckiest in the top cars this season, that is for sure. But of course, it looks like he'll come out in 10th. It might be just inside or just outside the points, although Roberto Gamba is in the pits, so it looks like Willers will manage to get some points from this race. It might only be 1, but at least he'll get something from this race, but still won't be particularly happy about that, I don't think. But anyway, so as we look at the Mercedes of Volker right now, there's only 9 laps to go this race, and it's looking pretty good for him right now. Just needs to get that car to the end of the race, just not do anything stupid, and the title is just about his. Now meanwhile, this is Willows, who, having made his pit stop, is set to overtake Franco Gamma. This is for P9, so Willows trying to go from 1 point to 2 points, and Willows on the inside, and is going to take 9th position. This should be a pretty easy move, and he's through, gets past the Italian of Franco Gamma, so there we go. So as we look at the Armour car, the race leader, as he comes across the line, only 7 laps to go this race now, and as we look at, this is Evan Byrne in 12th position. At the moment, it looks like he's not going to be able to get any points from this race. But Armour car, if he is going to win this race, this would be another win for him. He's taken several throughout the season, that is for sure. This would be his, I'm just trying to think how many it would be. I think this would be his 5th win. No, actually it would be, I think, his 7th win, actually, if he was to win this race, which at this moment in time, it looks like he is going to. What's the gap to Volker? Actually, 23 seconds, so of course Volker was closing the gap, but of course it won't matter in these last 5 laps. Now Turin at the moment, who has actually been overtaken by Willers, actually, I should say. Of course, so Willers has now caught up to now Turin and passed him for P8, so Willers getting more points on the board. I don't know how far George Roque is in front of him, if he'll be able to catch him before the end. I'm not sure, but Willers will get 8th place, or at least he'll get, I said, more points than he had before. So as he's trying to lap this man, of course, I always think is when they're trying to go from one side to the other, that there's going to be a collision there. Fortunately, there isn't. So as we look at the field coming through, there's Mackenzie at the moment, still get a good haul of points, despite, of course, his collision, but he'll still be frustrated that, of course, that happened. Got very unfortunately caught out in that situation, that you could say dodgy pit entry. Meanwhile, Roland Moyton, as I said, fantastic performance, only 10 seconds off Franco Lopez as well in 5th position. So Mackenzie, despite actually having that wing, of course, has actually made no impact of his race. He's still set to take 6th position, which I think he'll be pretty happy with. But as I said, Roland Moyton, great race by him as well. Meanwhile, now Tiernan being overtaken by round the outside there by Franco Gamma, so he now takes P9 away from him. So only 5 laps to go left of this race. But Gamma moving up another position, up into 9th. So there we go, Gallo at the moment in 3rd. Of course, that's the position he's going to finish. At least he'll get fastest lap from this race on the podium, but it could have been so much more. But we're now on the final lap of the season. So, of course, Amarkar is, of course, leading this race. Volker right now coming across the line in 2nd position. Unless anything happens now, Volker has got this title in the bag. And you have to say it's probably been well deserved. He's had a great fight throughout the season with Amarkar, but he has managed to come out on top. And it looks like he is set to take his 5th title of his OC career. Amarkar, you've got to feel for him as well. He's done everything he could have done to in this race, especially just to win this title. He deserved this win, absolutely. And you said you've got to feel for what's happened in a couple of races this season. Abu Dhabi being the main one. Just imagine what the championship would be like had he not had what happened to him in Abu Dhabi with Joel Hutter getting involved with him. But Amarkar is coming down for the 71st and final time in the final race of the season in the OC. Is set to come across the lines. He comes around the final corner of the 71st, and the final time Amarkar is set to come across the line and win the Brazilian Grand Prix. It will be another victory for Amarkar. It won't be the championship, but Amarkar comes across the line and he wins the Brazilian Grand Prix. And there we go. What a race from Carr. As I said, you really, really got to feel for him. He's done everything he could have done. But meanwhile, here is the man of the moment, Florian Volker, coming through. There's the confirmation on the screen. He is about to come across the line. And Florian Volker, it's Mambo number 5, the 5-time GP4 OC World Champion. Congratulations to him. Thoroughly deserved. It's been a tough fight for him all season, but he has come out on top. So well done to him. And he'll be absolutely thrilled with that one. That is for sure. And so he is the winner, of course, from this race. Miguel Scal will come across the line in 3rd. Franco Lopez in 4th. I think it's Renamosh in 5th. Jay McKenzie will be 6th. Roke 7th. Willis 8th. Franco Gabba 9th. And Thierry now Turner will take the last point in 10th position. But as I said, there it is. There is your man of the moment, Florian Volker. He will enjoy that one. That is for sure. He is the world champion. He won't win the race here, but it doesn't matter. He has done it. As we look at the rest of the field now, coming across the line, this huge stack of cars coming across the line. Franco Lopez, of course, there in 4th. Willows in 8th across the line. There's Roland Moichin, a fantastic race for him in 5th. Franco Gamba, been a great season for him as well. Of course, he'll be moving to Red Bull next season. He'll be very happy with that indeed. The last guy across the line, he comes across the line 9th. And there we go, race over, and that is the season over. Here are the final race results from Brazil. So Amarkar winning ahead of Florian Volker in 2nd, Miguel Scal in 3rd, Franco Lopez 4th, Roland Moich in 5th, Jay McKenzie in 6th, Roke 7th, Willows 8th, Franco Gamba 9th, and now Turner in 10th, of course. Roland Moich being the last one to lead lap, with now Turner and Roberto Gamba being 2 laps down actually as well. Miguel Scal setting the fastest lap of the race at 1:17.907. The rest of the finishing order as follows: Laura Chung, Crossover De Rossa, Evan Byrne, Lincoln Palmer, David Greenwood, Valeo Tomaselli, Etienne Jones, and Maxime Titkoff. Obviously, the last drivers being 3 laps down, with Gabriel Gomez, Joel Hutter, and Vic Sontag, the drivers who did not finish this race. So now we'll take a look at the final driver standings and constructor standings after Brazil with Florian Volker. There it is, the title winner. 312 points, with Amarkar 2nd on 300, Franco Lopez 3rd on 286. The rest of the orders follows: Joseph was 4th, Miguel Scal 5th, John Hutter 6th, George Rook 7th, Franco Gamba 8th, Evan Bernard, Roland Moichin pipping Tomaselli to 10th position in the last race with a fantastic P5 finish. He'll be pretty happy with that one. The rest of the orders follows: Jay McKenzie in 12th, Gabriel Gomez 13th, now Tiernan, Chung, De Rossa, Gamba, Sontag, Campana, Parachki, Jones, Greenwood, and of course the last driver, the only driver in the season who didn't score a point, unfortunately, and you really got to feel for him because it didn't go his way, of course, in Russia, was Maxime Titkoff, 23rd and last. But of course, he may have been last, but that didn't put down some of the performances he's put in this season. So finally, we will now take a look at the constructors' standings. So Mercedes winning ahead of Ferrari by 40 points as well. That was pretty close too. 50 points, I should say. 50 points the gap. Mercedes to Ferrari. Red Bull 3rd. Haas in 4th. Renault in 5th. Sauber in 6th. Beating Force India just by a single point. That was very close indeed. Toro Rosso in 8th. McLaren 9th. Williams in 10th. And Manor in 11th. And breaking news! Florian Volker, having won his 5th title, is going to retire from the top class with immediate effect, meaning he will not defend his crown next season. His replacement will be this year's runner-up Amarkar, who will move from Ferrari, with Laura Chung, who was set to be on the sidelines, will come in as Amar's replacement at Ferrari. Now that is a great bombshell to end the season. I hope you guys enjoyed. If we get to for the final time, vote for your driver today and give the race a rating out of 10. Thank you very much for watching, guys. It's been an unbelievable season. Thanks to Yuri for hosting it, for Joe for editing. Thanks to Flo for hosting GP2 and DTM. Thanks to Joe for hosting Formula E, BTC, and everyone else that's helped in this OC season. It has been incredible yet again, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. I've been George, your OC commentator. Thank you very much for watching, guys, and we will see you for next year, 2019. Thanks for watching, guys, and see you then.
Never curse your name. I keep my lips shut tight until you go. We come as far as we're ever gonna get until you realize that you should go. Come in misery where you can seem as old as your omens, and the mother we share will never keep your proud head from falling. The way is long, but you can make it easy on me, and the mother we share will never keep our cold heart from calling. In the dying light, I'm the only one here, and I will cover you until you go. 'Cause if I told the truth, I would always be free and keep a prize with me until you go.